I'm Evelyn Linwood. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be focused on the 24-hour novel challenge, which is part of the 185, not originally, but the 185, the 185 Insane says to do the 24-hour novel challenge. I've actually been doing this challenge for years. I've never actually succeeded, but that's not the point. Well, it is for some people. Some people genuinely write 50,000 words in 24 hours. Anyway, I will be doing my version of the 24-hour novel challenge by having 3 8-hour writing days. Thursday the 19th, Friday the 20th, and Monday the 23rd. Today is the morning of the 19th, and I'm just about to get started. I do have a cup of tea and some toast. Well, gluten-free toast. Does it count? Yes, but I'm going to get started, and I will try and record the process, see how it goes, how I'm feeling throughout, and if you're participating, please share anything you want to in the comments. I would love to talk about these things. Thank you. Okay, I've had my breakfast. It's time to start. What is it? It's 7:30 a.m. I am tracking my 8-hour days. Oh, my hair. I am tracking my 8-hour days with my Forest app on my phone. I know I've showed it before. It is... Oh, let me turn the screen brightness down. That was a mistake. It is a time tracker, basically, and then you can set how long the timer is. I will be doing 25-minute timers. 8 hours. So essentially, for 8 hours of work, I will do 16 timers, and they'll each only be 25 minutes long, which means I won't truly be doing 8 hours. However, I have found through repeated experimentation that I do a lot better with a 25-minute sprint and a 5-minute break than I do with a 30-minute sprint. I will actually get more words for whatever reason. Yeah. So I've picked out 2 different varieties of tree for this challenge day. Well, for the whole challenge. This one will represent Project Gold. The camera getting it? Good. And that is the project that I'm really hoping to make the most progress on throughout this challenge, but especially today. Just because I feel like I'm lagging behind and I want to have it done. And then the Project King, I will be using this tree. So my hope is that I can look back at the end of the 3 days of challenges and see like what percentage of the time I spent on Project Gold and what percent I spent on Project King, and hopefully it will be at least 2/3 Project Gold. This is the sequel to Showing Silver, which is my already published debut novel, so I really don't want to leave readers waiting for it too long. It is my personal goal to have it out by around the same time next year, so somewhere in May. I took a lot longer than that getting Showing Silver ready. But again, I was working on multiple projects, so I don't know what my writing pace is, or my writing and publishing pace. I am hoping that I can be a 1 book a year kind of writer, kind of author. I get to say author now. Ooh. Yeah, so I'm hoping to be a 1 book a year kind of author. I don't know if I am. Some of my projects are a little bit chunky. Showing Silver was not. Showing Silver is a fairly short work. I imagine that Project Gold will be just a little bit longer than Showing Silver. But yes, I am procrastinating at this point. It's time to get started. I like to listen to music while I write. I have a playlist for each project, so I will film my first sprint, but I will have to put in some like copyright free music and mute it because I will be listening to actual music. Okay. I think I got 368 words, which I don't tend to go by word count anyway. That's not a lot of words for me, but I have not been in drafting mode for a while, and I do think they're pretty good words, so I don't know that they'll change that much. I say that now. I'll read it tomorrow and I'll hate it. But, yeah, so I think this challenge is going to go really well. Famous last words, I know, but we'll see. Okay, I just finished my second sprint, and the scene I was working on, but never mind that. I just discovered the coolest feature in Scrivener. Okay, to be clear, I have the Mac version, so I don't know where it will be in the Windows. But project statistics, I was looking for like my word count for the day. Under like compiled, there is a word frequency thing. Oh my goodness. If I had known about that when I was doing like my copy edits for Showing Silver. I have crutch words. I know I have crutch words. I know what some of them are. I don't think I know what all of them are. You can sort it by count. Currently I have 381 which it's an article, it's going to be everywhere. The, her, to, she. None of these are concerning. I'm saying that a lot. That's interesting. But that's amazing. And then if you have like a word that you love that you think you use too much, you can go in and you can check. I never even occurred to me that word frequency could be a thing in a writing software. I love Scrivener so much. Okay, but seriously, where did they put like the word count? Because I'm used to the Windows version. So I know how to find like my word count for the day in Windows. Maybe it's under Project Target. Yep, Project Target. I am at 668 words this session, which that's not very many for two 25-minute sprints, but it was a full scene and my little, well, I finished a scene that I had started. And my little pantser brain discovered something about my character, so I'm really happy about that. I got to write like a kind of a tense scene about, I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it is the first scene of chapter 2. So yeah, I do still need to go back and write one more scene in chapter 1, but I think this will be pretty good. This will be good. Yeah, I can't believe that feature exists. That is amazing. Genuinely, Scrivener, every time I turn around, it has another feature that I didn't know it had. And I did the tutorial, guys. Scrivener is awesome. Highly recommend. For those of you who aren't familiar with Scrivener, it is it's a writing software that uses, you have like your document in the middle, and then on the left-hand side, you have sort of a list of all the documents inside your document. I use that to have like folders for chapters, and then documents for scenes. Other people use it differently. I also have like a planning folder which I don't think I've ever had a planning folder before. But I have a planning folder, and it has like an outline, a couple of test scenes, notes about the university, notes about my villain's arc, timeline notes, that kind of thing. Actually, let me open my other project and see if I actually do have something like that. Project King. Okay, I do have kind of a planning folder, but I call it miscellaneous edit info. I don't think I had it my first draft. In fact, I know I didn't, because Project King was first drafted on a tablet in 2019. Or I guess it was it was the end of it was December through April. So, or I might have started the last week of November. Irrelevant. I think it was December through April. I finished it in April's camp. I wrote like 70,000 words that month. It was my first time doing the challenge, so then every time after that, I thought, I can write 70,000 words. I never did it again. Oh well. So Project King has a thing like that. Wow, I'm really rambly when I've been writing. Okay, so I am 2 trees in. I have 14 more to go. Bear with me, I'll get there. Okay, it is now almost 10 a.m. I have been sitting here 7:30 to 9:45. That is slightly more than 2 hours, and I have only done 2 sprints. I don't know how that happened. I am time blind, so this isn't the first time that sort of thing has happened to me. I know I've done some filming. I ordered groceries. I don't think that took very long. What was I doing? If I continue on this path, it will be like 17, 18 hours in a day, and I did not start the day early enough for that to be valid. So I need to speed up. So the way I'm going to handle that, I think Forest has some kind of automatically plant the next tree thing. So if I figure out how to do that, I will do 2 trees in a row and just do the automatic 5-minute break. After that, I'm sure I'll want to stretch my legs again. Possibly switch projects. I want to switch projects now, to be honest. There is a scene in Project King that I have to add in. And that seems to be like bubbling up in the back of my brain. But I'm going to focus on Project Gold for 1 more hour, at least, before letting myself do that. And hopefully that'll be, 1 or 2 trees, and then I'll bounce back to Project Gold again. But for now, I'm going to try and connect chapter 1 to chapter 2. I have to write kind of what I think is going to be a cute scene with Kira and her dad. So we will see how long that takes, how far I get. After that, I have the scenes that I feel like are actually going to be easier to write because I have them, they're just in my brain. Now, this is going to sound weird because I do think that pantsers actually plan a lot more than we let on. It's just all upstairs. And I know some of you probably don't like the term pantser, especially if you are from a country where that does not mean trousers. Where pants and trousers are not the same thing. But that's just kind of what we say it does come from like trouser pants. Yeah. So I made a fresh cup of tea. And I'm going to get started here. And I'm not going to record this just because I already have a lot of sprinting filmed and I listen to music again. So I will try and get through 1 hour in the next hour. And then hopefully just take a short walking around break and then do switch projects if I want to still at that point. Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Okay, this will probably be the last time I film until like way later in the day, if at all. I am at 4 sprints, so only 2 hours out of 8, and it is almost noon. So that's a problem, but a lot of other stuff came up this morning, which should not repeat in the afternoon. I have no concerns about that. So I think it'll speed up a lot. There was something I wanted to say. Oh, it's been a while since I've written this much. And I know that's ridiculous because I'm a published author at this point. I mean, just the one book, but the fact that I have not written 2 hours in one day in a long time. Ugh. But it feels really good. It feels really, really good to be writing this much. I have not run out of ideas. I've rediscovered what I love about discovery writing. Because like one of my characters has a medical condition that I did not know about this morning, and I know about it now. And one of my characters, actually the same character, has really been surprising me with her emotional, I guess her attitude, which actually works good for the arc that I want her to have. So, yeah, it's going great other than the number of sprints I've done, but the writing itself is going great. Yeah. So everything's great. I'm not going to film for a while because I do think filming has slowed me down a lot this morning, but so did a grocery order and like the dog. So it wasn't all, hi kitty. It wasn't all, I don't think I was just like staring into space and I know that I wasn't distracted on the internet. I watched, I think, one 5-minute YouTube video, or well, the first 5 minutes of a video, and then I turned it off. I stayed off of Instagram, which actually I should probably post an Instagram story, come to think of it, because 24-hour novel. Yeah. But I am having fun. It's still fun. In less than an hour, my husband will be home. He's working the afternoon from home. That's why we share an office. That's his desk. Yeah, so he works from home like sometimes, but not. Yeah. Anyway, sometimes he'll be here. This afternoon he'll be here, so I definitely won't be filming because he doesn't want to be online, which I get. So there was something else. I know there was. Yeah, I feel good. I'm happy. And I definitely need to speed up because this was a little over 4 hours for 2 hours of work. I cannot have a 16-hour day. I cannot do that. Because that would put me at, let's see, say I started at 8 because it's easier math, and now it's noon because that's easier math. That would put me at midnight, and I don't want to do that. I want to stop around 6. I can't do that. Okay, so this afternoon is going to be a lot more sprint. Sprint. Yes. That's our kitty, Sammy. She has weather-related headaches, I think. So that's why she's being a little loud, because we had a temperature flop. It helps her if we rub her forehead, from what we can tell. Yep, so we will be... Okay. I will be continuing my day off camera. Wish me luck. And if you're participating, tell me, like, when did you hit your first wall? Because I know that everyone has walls built in. I suspect that mine is going to come around 4 hours of writing. That's usually where my, like, hard wall is when I'm doing a lot of writing. You can kind of jam through a wall and then get your second wind and then hit another wall later. But let me know, where was your first wall if you're participating? Or if you're not participating, do you know where your first wall usually is? How do you push through? All that jazz. Okay, so it's actually still Thursday. I changed because I was cold. And I took my makeup off because my eyes were burning. I realized my mascara is actually super old. It's like 7 months old or something. It's ridiculous. So I'll either replace it or not wear mascara. So I am at 10 out of 16 intended trees. That's 5 out of 8 hours. It is currently 5:40 p.m. I have notes on how things have been going. So I broke it down into 3 sessions so far, although really I was getting up and down the whole time. So session 1 stretched the whole morning, 7:30 a.m. to noon. I only grew 4 trees during that time. I'm calling it growing trees, forest app that I showed you earlier. And I wrote 1,445 new words in Project Gold, which is now up to 9,313 as of the end of that. Which I actually typed up 2 new scenes this morning. They were just short scenes. So I was pretty happy with that. I think I've been so stalled in that project that it's just nice to have it move at all. And I think I'm unstuck because I was a little bit stuck. Okay, and that was interrupted by like the dog and Instacart. I think I mentioned that this morning. Session 2 stretched from 12:30 p.m. After I had my lunch until 3 p.m. And I actually woke up this morning with a headache, so I took Tylenol at the start of that session, and then I did a tree in, I continued in the same project, and the headache was gone by the end of that particular tree. I hit a wall so hard after 5 trees, so this was 2.5 hours into writing. I was like, why do I do this every year? Why do I try the 24-hour novel challenge? I was like, that's insane. I can't write more than 2.5 hours. Now, I have been in like copy edit mode and line edit mode and proofreading and like figuring. The publishing process for Showing Silver got me out of drafting mode for way too long. So the publishing process got me out of drafting mode for a while, but I am back in. Yay. So because I hit that wall, I switched to planning mode for a couple of sprints, and then I had a break. I had some tea. I thought I was getting a second wind. I didn't really. So this was 3 total trees in that 2.5 hour session. So there was an hour in there that wasn't tree time. And I hit the total word count came up to 10,458. I can't remember. Oh, the new words were 1,172. Session 3, I started at 4 p.m. So I took a full hour break. which was very much needed. I switched projects to Project King. That was when I removed my makeup because my eyes were burning. Changed because I was cold. So I got 613 new words in Project King, and I edited 2,281 words. Project King is in 4th draft stage, like I'm making a 4th draft, but I'm changing a lot, so there are developmental changes that require adding a lot of new words. The total word count as it stands right now is 112,937 words. For those of you who maybe aren't writers who are watching the channel, writers tend to think in word count instead of page count because page count is extremely dependent on A, how much dialogue you have, and B, some formatting choices like font size and layout, margins and stuff. Page count is a lie, word count is consistent, but in general, 1,000 words is 3 to 4 pages. So that is somewhere between like 300 and 400 pages as it stands. Wait, that can't be right. Yeah. I think so. But I expect it'll get bigger. It'll probably be close to 200,000 when I'm done. Maybe not. I'm probably going to trim some parts and add some parts, so we'll see what it comes out to. But yeah, that's where I stand right now. I am taking a long break. I probably won't start up again until 8 o'clock, which will be like a 2.5 hour break. My wrists are starting to twinge a little bit. My hands are very tired. If they're still bugging me when I start up again, I'm not going to continue today. Or at least I'll make that decision when that comes. I have in the past had like a mild case of carpal tunnel, and I don't want to have that happen to me again. I don't think 3 long days would do it, but it could. To be perfectly honest, it could. So I will be a little bit careful about stretching. I'll maybe ice. If you are choosing to do the challenge, please do all of the like health and safety things, take breaks every, what do they say, half hour? Look far away if you're going to stare at the screen all day. Drink water, walk around, stretch your wrists, not just your body. Okay, it is now Friday, June 20th. I did not actually write any more yesterday, so I am 3 hours behind, which I'm planning to just move those hours to Saturday. Even though I only intended to do 3 days, I figure as long as the 24 hours get done in the same time span, it's fine. I started today a little bit later than yesterday. So yesterday I got up, I started at 7:30. Today I slept through my alarm, several of them, and I got up and sat in my chair and was writing by 9:30. So this morning, between 9:30 and 11:30, I just ran like a 2-hour timer, and I actually got all 4 of my trees or sprints. I counted it as 4 trees or sprints. I stopped writing about 10 minutes before the timer ended because I credited myself with meeting the breaks that I normally get. But yeah, that went really well. I was writing a scene in Project Gold that I was actually really surprised by the length. But I am at the point in the scene where it's about to shift from pure setup to theme stated, if you're familiar with Save the Cat. Well, the theme stated is part of the setup, but I'm about to do Kira's theme stated, which I'm really excited about. And yes, the first book did actually follow Save the Cat to, not perfectly, but I tried to keep it relatively close. I love Save the Cat's approach to like story art of character art. Um, and I like the way that it's focused on basically the way the hero moves through the plot instead of the plot itself. That's a little hard to explain. But I am definitely a character-based reader, so I prefer stories like that. Probably Showing Silver was a little bit of both character and story and plot driven, which I think is a healthy mix. But Project Gold will be kind of the same mix. Where was I going with this? Anyway, it is now 12:30ish. I'm at the same place I was yesterday at the same time, so I'm not too worried about the fact that I slept in. I got 1,509 new words this morning on Project Gold, which brings my total Project Gold word count up to 11,879. For those of you who don't think in word count, that is roughly 33 to 44 pages. Well, no, actually. That would be if it was like 11,000. So, yeah, a tenth of that. So, I am really starting to enjoy Project Gold. I don't have the whole thing planned out. I have a lot of things that I want to include, but I haven't like plugged them in yet. So it will definitely evolve as I go. Yeah, but so far so good. I have 6 hours more to do today. 12 hours left, or not 12 hours, 11 hours left in the day, 6 hours more to do, so hopefully I can mostly get that sooner rather than later because I like sleep. Okay, it is now 7:11 p.m. I did a shortish 2-hour writing session this afternoon, which I actually only did 3 sprints during that time. I was a little bit distracted. So 2 of them were for Project Gold, and I did finish the theme stated for Kira. So I got to move one of my Kanban stickers. And then I got new words was 539, which brings the total word count for that project up to 12,418. And I hit a wall so hard after those 2 sprints. I don't know what was going on with me. That was only 3 hours of writing. And I hit the... So I made tea. I switched projects. I did 1 more sprint. The urge to work on other projects is so strong. But, oh, no, before I say that. With my other 1 sprint, I moved 1 scene into the done column for Project King. And then another scene, I kind of reevaluated one of the characters' calls to action, and I decided that it was not what I thought it was, and I actually deleted a scene because it was feeling like kind of a superfluous scene, which it was a scene I thought I had to add in, so I didn't delete a scene. I just cut it from the new outline. And then I decided what to do about the sticky note. What I did was I crossed off the name of the scene, tore the sticky note in half, and still moved it to my done column because I did work to get there, so I just, yeah. Anyway, between those 2 things, I got my first, royalties. I got a check for royalties. Now, I'm self-published, so royalties is kind of a weird thing to say, but it was not for the first book sold, but it's the first that I've actually had money paid to me, because it was just published last month. So one of the bookstores that I had carrying my book, Prairie Lights in Iowa City, sent me a check. It was like $16, but because they sold 2 copies. But to a new time debut author, I got to go. So after work, my husband and I went to deposit it in my business account because we were both like, yay. It's less it's not the amount, it's just the, it's the first time my book has come in and been like, here's your victory. So that's pretty exciting. I'm still way in the red because, I expect to be for a while. Probably the first couple of years. But it's all very, very exciting. And because of that, and because of a couple of phone calls this afternoon, I haven't actually written since, when did I check out? 2:45. So, 5.5 hours. No, wait. 4.5 hours. I can do math. Which is fine. I am only at 7 sprints for the day. It is now Monday, June 23rd, 10 a.m. I did not write more on Friday. So I ended the day 3.5 hours, which between the 2 days, I actually have only written 8.5 hours, which in any other context would actually be a lot. To do creative writing in one day, like 3 hours is usually my sweet spot for like maximum before just the quality goes downhill. And that's just kind of always, I know some people can do more creative work in one day, or they'll do burst work. I work better if I'm doing it consistently in smaller amounts. So I had hit a wall really hard after my second session on Friday, and I literally sat at my desk for 40 minutes and just couldn't start. And I needed my brain for Saturday just for like normal life stuff. So I did not write more. I probably could have forced myself to. I didn't. And then today, I've been thinking about it. I'm really glad that I did this challenge, but I feel like I've kind of already learned what I needed to learn. So what I'm going to do is, even though I will be writing more later, I have like a 4-hour event at my library, so I will be writing at that. I'm just going to give you the totals for what I accomplished this sprint and what I accomplished in this challenge and what I learned. This video is already really long, so I'm going to kind of wrap up here. So I got in Project Gold, the sequel to Showing Silver. I did 2,048 new words, which is not that many for the amount that I was actually spending writing, but I was very stuck, and I definitely got unstuck. So the total word count for that project is up to 12,418 words. For those of you who don't think in word count, each 1,000 words is like 3 to 4 pages, so that is between 36 and 48 pages-ish. And I worked on the setup for both of my main characters for that book. I successfully moved my sticky note for themes stated for Kira to the done pile in order to finish the setup for both characters. Let's see, my next scene for Alana is actually her themes stated, and then I have 1, 2, 3, so probably 3 more scenes total, or 4 total, including Alana's theme stated, to get through both of their setups, and then I will be moving into catalyst, debate, break into 2. And it is really good to feel like I'm moving again. So I do think that this book is going to be longer than the other book, possibly more than I realized, because like Catalyst usually happens around 10% of the story. I think that's, yeah, so like even if I was there now, it's going to come out 100,000 words, and the first book was around 60, so it is going to be a little bit longer. And I might, cut back on words in revision, but we'll see. So I did that. I did some planning, like not a ton of planning, because I am kind of discovery writing that book. I was spinning my wheels in planning mode before this challenge, because I'm more of a discovery writer. But I have been kind of focused on the character arc to make sure that I don't drop any balls. So I did do some planning. And then for Project King, I moved I drafted one scene, I edited another, I edited the scene that I had drafted, and I kind of deleted one scene from my new outline. That is a draft 4 book. It absolutely has an outline. And by the time I'm doing draft 2 or 3, I have a full outline. So I actually moved 3 sticky notes for that one. And the sticky notes in that book are scenes. So I did make significant progress in both books. I don't want to say that I'll finish the setup for Project Gold, which I know I said earlier in the video, but I always think things take less time than they do. I will probably make more progress than I have made, but I'm not going to put a time on it. I'm not going to track it. I will probably still track my sprints with trees. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to do with my time, with my my tracking. So I will look at that right now, and I will tell you my total sprint count for each book. So for Project Gold, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. For Project Gold, I did 13 sprints, which comes out to 6.5 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4. For Project King, I did 4 sprints, so that's 2 hours. So I did successfully spend at least 2/3 of my time on Project Gold. Project Gold. I will be... Later today when I'm working, I'm just going to work on whatever my little goblin brain wants to work on. Goblin brain, what? I'll just work on whatever I feel like today. I have learned, I think, more harshly than I have learned in previous attempts, because I took it a lot more seriously. I am not a marathon person. I like to do a little bit every day for writing, which I didn't know. I honestly sometimes think I'm a burst writer, but I think it's just that I get stuck sometimes, and then I spin my wheels and don't move forward. Speaking of which, that is my main takeaway from this challenge. Is not actually even just that marathons aren't for me. My main takeaway is that I need to not allow myself to get stuck. And I know, I do believe that there is such a thing as, writer's block. I have experienced it in the past. I know a lot of writers who say that it's not a thing. Once you have experienced it, you absolutely believe it's a thing. I've had it. I don't think you have it for years and years. I think usually it's related to something going on in your life. Anyway, I think that by working on multiple projects, I have accidentally trained myself to stop trying when the project gets hard. Like, I have I will hit a hard point in a story, whether that's Project Gold or Project King. I hit the hard point, I struggle a little bit, and then I say, well, I'll work on the other project for a little while. Maybe this will resolve itself. And once in a while it will, but usually it doesn't. So in doing that and allowing myself to switch when it's hard, I think I inadvertently trained my brain to just give up when when a hard problem presents itself. Like, I give up instead of continuing working on trying to solve it. So, because I was able to push through walls in the way that I did during this project, during this challenge, even though I don't think I have successfully completed the challenge. In fact, I know I haven't. Who am I kidding? I attempted it. I failed miserably. Well, actually, I failed joyfully. So I have discovered the value of a set amount of time. So what I'm going to do moving forward, I am going to set myself Tuesdays as a heavy writing day. I'm going to do at least 3 hours every Tuesday for the time being. I mean, maybe I'll reevaluate that down the line and shift it, but Tuesdays will be my at least, so I guess I'm adding a rule to my 185 already instead of waiting for the next quarter. So I will be adding a 3 hour, like I have to do at least 6 of those little timers every Tuesday. Obviously, if it's a day off, I'll skip it. Or if if I wake up miserably ill, I can skip it. But in general, I think having that once a week, 3 hours, it will keep me from getting stuck and just spinning my wheels. And also, now that I'm aware that this is something I'm doing, I'm going to try to flop projects when it's hard less often. So yes, if I have one project that I'm like just really in the mood for and I'm not feeling the other one, fine. But if I'm switching because I've hit like a difficult problem, I'm going to try not to do that so much because I don't think it's good for me long term. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave it here. I will be writing more for the challenge, but I'm not going to track word counts and such. If you did the challenge or are going to do the challenge, maybe you're doing it on your own timeline. How do you do? Are you doing any other challenges this year? I'm doing Camp Nano next month. I know Nano shut down, and honestly, I was at the point that I said good riddance when I heard it. I did do Nano for a few years, but I also recommended it to my uncle for my younger cousin, who thankfully did not join. Yeah, but I'm doing, camp without the organization. I am still in a Discord group that started as like a nano cabin, so we always do the events anyway. Largely not tied to the organization, and it hasn't been for like years. So I will be doing that in July, and then probably the one in November too. But if you know of any other challenges, I'd love to hear them. If you have any suggestions for like writing experiments, I have done some in the past before I had a YouTube channel. So I've watched a few different YouTube channels where they will do like, I tried writing like author A, I tried writing like author B, where they experiment with other people's writing routines, or things like I tried Pomodoro sprints for a day. If there's anything like that you'd be interested in seeing, please let me know, and maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. At the very least, it'll be something to think about. If you've done anything like that, also tell me how'd it go. And again, if you did one of those and have a video about it, I don't mind if you mention your channel in the comments. That's not something that would bother me. By all means, feel free. It gives me people to find because I love watching AuthorTube. I always feel motivated after watching. So again, if you have a YouTube channel where you've done one of those things, I do not mind links. Go ahead. Or at least tell us about it and we can follow you on our own. Yeah, so this has been my 24-hour novel challenge. I did not complete it successfully, but, you know, I think some people wouldn't have posted the video if they didn't complete it, but I did promise a video. And it's like a realistic thing. Some people just aren't marathoners. I'm a published author, so don't feel too bad about it if you're not a marathon person, but you're like, well, I want to publish my books. You can do it. Yeah. So I will be implementing that. I already said all that. Have a good one. Don't forget to comment below. Like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. And I hope I'll see you next time. It'll just be like a normal writing vlog.